It is 11 p.m. You are in bed, lights off. Your partner is asleep beside you. The house is quiet, and your phone is 3 inches from your face. You are not doing anything, just scrolling, the way you do every night before your eyes get heavy enough to close. And then you see it. Someone you went to school with just posted a photo. New car, leaning against the hood, smiling. The caption says something like, "blessed," or "finally," or "hard work pays off." And something happens inside you that you do not choose. Your chest tightens, your jaw shifts. A thought forms that you did not invite. I am behind. You do not say it out loud. You do not even fully think it, but your body felt it, and your thumb already started moving. Not toward the person's profile, not toward a comment, toward a shopping app. And within 3 minutes, you are looking at something you did not need 10 minutes ago. Something that was not on your mind when you got into bed. Something that did not exist in your world until a stranger's photo told your brain that your world was not enough. If that has ever happened to you, and I know it has, what I am about to explain is the mechanism your brain used against you, and it runs every single time you scroll. Here's what your brain just did in those 3 minutes. In 1954, a psychologist named Leon Festinger published a theory that would explain more about modern spending than any economist ever has. He called it social comparison theory. The idea is simple. Human beings do not measure themselves in absolute terms. You do not look at your life and evaluate it based on what you have. You evaluate it based on what you have compared to what you see other people having. Your brain does not ask, "Am I doing well?" Your brain asks, "Am I doing well compared to them?" And for most of human history, that comparison was limited. You compared yourself to your neighbors, your coworkers, your family, maybe 30 or 40 people total. And most of those people lived roughly similar lives to yours. The comparison was manageable because the sample size was small and the lifestyles were close. Then something changed. You were handed a device that shows you the curated highlight reels of 500 people simultaneously. Every morning, every lunch break, every night before bed. And your brain, the one that was designed to compare you to 40 people who live like you, is now comparing you to 500 people, showing you the single best moment of their entire month. It was never designed for this, and it is losing badly. Here is how the comparison turns into spending. When your brain sees someone who appears to be ahead of you, it does not process that as information. It processes it as a threat. The same brain region that responds to physical danger responds to social disadvantage. Your brain sees a photo of someone with a nicer car, and it does not think, "good for them." It thinks, "I am falling behind." And falling behind in a social group, for most of human evolutionary history, meant being excluded. And being excluded meant not surviving. Your brain treats the Instagram post the same way your ancestors' brain treated being pushed to the edge of the tribe, as a survival threat. And what does the brain do when it detects a threat? It takes action to eliminate it. The action your brain has learned eliminates social comparison pain in the modern world is purchasing something. Because buying something creates a brief neurological signal that says, "I am closing the gap. I am catching up. I am not behind anymore." That signal lasts approximately 3 to 10 minutes. Then it disappears. The gap reopens. The scroll continues. The next post arrives. And the cycle starts again. Now let me show you why this hits hardest at night. During the day, your prefrontal cortex is online, the planning center, the part of your brain that evaluates consequences, that calculates cost versus benefit, that says, "Do I actually need this?" But your prefrontal cortex runs on a resource that depletes throughout the day. By 11 p.m., after a full day of work, after decisions about meals and tasks and emails and conversations and traffic and everything else your brain processed since 7 a.m., the prefrontal cortex is running on empty. Decision fatigue. The guard is asleep. The checkpoint is unmanned. The part of your brain that would have stopped you at 2 p.m. is offline at 11 p.m. And what is still running at full power at 11 p.m.? The comparison system, the emotional response system, the threat detection system. Those never turn off. Those are ancient survival systems that run 24 hours because, in the wild, threats do not respect business hours. So at 11 p.m., you have the worst possible combination. A fully active comparison system that detects a threat in every scroll. A fully active emotional system that responds to the threat with urgency. And a completely depleted rational system that cannot intervene. The comparison says you are behind. The emotion says fix it now. The rational brain says nothing. It is asleep. And your thumb presses buy. This is not weakness. This is architecture. Your brain was built for a world where threats came from lions, not from a stranger's vacation photo at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. So here's what I want you to take from this. The purchase you made at 11 p.m. was not a decision. It was a reaction. A survival response triggered by a social comparison your brain processed as a threat. Executed at the exact hour when the only part of your brain that could have stopped it was already offline. You did not buy that thing because you needed it. You bought it because a photo made you feel behind. And your brain reached for the fastest way to close a gap that does not actually exist. Because the person in the photo is showing you their single best moment. And you are comparing it to your ordinary Tuesday night in bed. Their highlight, your behind the scenes. That is not a fair comparison, and your brain knows it is not fair. But the comparison system does not have a fairness filter. It only has a threat detector. And the threat detector cannot distinguish between a real gap and a curated one. So here is the one move that actually works. Not willpower, not promising yourself you will stop scrolling. You will not. The scroll is designed to be addictive, and you are not going to beat a billion-dollar algorithm with good intentions. The move is simpler. Delete the shopping apps from your phone. Not your account, just the app. Keep the account on your laptop at home. Make the purchase require effort. Make it require getting out of bed, walking to a desk, opening a laptop, typing in a URL, logging in, finding the item again. By the time you do all of that, the prefrontal cortex has time to wake up. The 3-minute dopamine window has closed, and the rational brain asks the question that the emotional brain skipped. Do I actually need this? 90% of the time, the answer is no, and the purchase never happens. Not because you became more disciplined, because you added friction between the trigger and the action. You gave your rational brain time to get back online before your emotional brain could finish the transaction. That is not self-control. That is system design. You redesign the purchase pathway to include a delay your brain cannot skip. If you scrolled past something tonight that made you feel like your life was not enough, your life is enough. The screen lied. Your brain believed it, and the shopping app was ready. Now you know how the machine works, and now you know where the off switch is. Subscribe if that just changed how you think about what you scroll past before bed. I will see you in the next one.